Hello and welcome, Cambell here from Autodidactic Channel. Hope you are all having a spectacular day. And today I wanted to have another look at my hometown, Perth, Australia. Mainly just because of the time frame. You know, Perth was founded in 1829, and by the sort of 1850s, 1860s, we had all these like lots and lots of huge buildings everywhere. So the story doesn't make a lot of sense. So I thought we'd have a bit more of a look into it. So let's have a look at Old World Perth. The Swan River Colony in Perth was founded in 1829. And the Swan River Colony is Perth. We have the Swan River going through. So it was originally called the Swan River Colony, founded 1829, largely because the British feared that the French would establish a colony in Western Australia. In 1827, Captain James Stirling sailed to the Swan River in his ship, the HMS Success. Stirling believed the area would be ideal for a settlement. He persuaded the British government to found a colony there, independent of the colony in New South Wales. Perth was named after the birthplace of Sir George Murray, who was the British Secretary of State for the colonies when the city was founded in 1829. However, this colony was not to be manned by convicts. Instead, the government would sell land cheaply to private citizens, of course ignoring the Indigenous Australians who already lived there. The first ship to arrive in the Swan River estuary was the HMAS Challenger, captained by Charles Fremantle, and on the 2nd of May 1829 he claimed the whole of Australia outside of New South Wales for Britain. Stirling arrived in June. He ran the new colony by the Swan River from 1829 to 1832, and again from 1834 to 1838. The new colony developed on two sites. The port town was named Fremantle in honour of the captain. Perth itself was founded on the 12th of August 1829. To mark the event, a tree was cut down, of course, on the site of Kings Park. Soon there was a conflict between the European settlers and the Indigenous Australians. The Indigenous were driven off their land and many of them were killed. The conflict culminated in the Battle of Pinjarra in Perth in the 19th century. During the 19th century, amenities in Perth improved. Royal Perth Hospital was established in 1855. Then 1856, Perth was made a city, and the same year Perth gained street lighting. Meanwhile, the Supreme Court Gardens were laid out in 1845, a park was laid out in 1872, and in 1901 was renamed Kings Park, and the Queen's Gardens were laid out in 1899. The zoo opened in 1898. So there you go, they turn up, they cut down a tree, kill the natives, and then create a Kings Park and a Queen's Park. And that was pretty much the start of Perth. But the main thing is, founded 12th of August 1829, and you know, by 1855 they're building, you know, big hospitals, they're telling us. Now that is 26 years after they reached, you know, the shores here. So there's a lot of questions, like if they were going to build a building, there's a lot of elements in that building. There's bricks. Where are the bricks coming from? Where did the mortar come from? You know, and the mortar has lime in it. Where did the lime come from? Then you have cement, you have glass, you have iron, you have, you know, so many different parts, the plaster, you know, the wiring, just plumbing, just tons and tons of stuff to build a building. And you need all those industries. Now, of course, some of that stuff could have been shipped in, but, you know, in a wide-scale manufacturing thing, they would have had to be manufacturing, you know, certain things. They may have brought in some glass or some windows, but they wouldn't have brought in all the bricks or the cement or anything like that. It's just too heavy. So yeah, that's why I'm having another look at Perth, because the story just really doesn't make a lot of sense. Now this is a collage of old photos. So this is a view from Perth Town Hall in 1885. So this is Perth, this is Kings Park, this is the old brewery, the Swan Brewery. This has all been filled in now. I filled that in, so that's now a park. But you can see, look at this road. It almost looks, these buildings, it almost looks like an old Wild West town. But they're just everywhere. We've got cathedrals here. We've got, you know, the barracks up here, which is, of course, a Starfort citadel. It's an octagon, that one. More churches. And at this point, there used to be baths here, like a bathhouse. And it's gone by 1885. It's not there. And of course, we have Government House, which is a castle. As you can see, we had a bit of a look at that in Perth Tartaria, the video. And we get this. Now this is St. George's Cathedral, and this is clearly a construction photo. Now a few things. To start with, this isn't level. But the main problem with this picture, if this is a new construction, is look at this gap here. We have this older church or another, you know, building, and look how close they are. Look at that. That's, but what is that? A meter, if that. So where are the foundations for this? Right? I mean, the foundations would come out further than this. So that means the foundations must be lower in the ground. I mean, that's just, you could not do that. You wouldn't try building, you know, this is a big structure. This is a big, you know, cathedral church. And it's just like literally right next to that old building. So that doesn't make sense at all. It was very close to this building too. Obviously we can't see it on this angle. And the other thing is, you know, again, all the masonry part of this building, you know, seems to be finished. And in the same architectural style as we see everywhere, but they're putting a roof on it. So this is, you know, again, one of those photos. Is this a construction photo, or is this that they've found it and they're re-roofing it and fixing it up? Because this bit here, I mean, come on. And I don't know what these are. Is that bricks or something? It looks like a wall's fallen over, but it's just too close. It doesn't make sense. And of course, you know, this is a church, this is a church, this is a church. You know, what they tell us the churches. There's another one here, another one here. I mean, just everywhere. And here we are on Wikipedia, just to have a look at the population of Perth in the 1880s. And it says the discovery of gold, of course, in the Kimberley, Murchison and Kalgoorlie regions in the 1880s and 1890s, and the concurrent granting of responsible government to Western Australia in 1890 had a huge impact on the development. The physical nature of the city changed dramatically with economic prosperity, the increase of population as a result of the gold rush and immigration. In one decade, the population of the city tripled from 8,447 in 1891 to 27,553 in 1901. So 8,447,000 in 1891. So we're looking at a picture from 1885. You know, so let's be nice. Let's say there was 8,000 people. 8,000 people, and they've built this. Look at this. Okay, so this is just big 2-story, 3-story buildings. You know, these, I don't know what this is, big long 2-story building. But also look at the size difference. You know, that's 2-story, that's 3. That's a pretty big building. You know, these just, they're popping out everywhere. But not just, you know, factories. Like, look at all the churches. For 8,000 people, does this make sense? There's another church. You know, a castle. Now another big brick building. Looking a bit old, this one, isn't it? Looks like it's a leaching lime or something. I'm not sure what kind of roof that is. Look at that. Interesting. But yeah, all of this built, guys. Look at this. You know, this is Governor's House. I know the Commissioner's store, right on the waterfront. You know, not the easiest place to build. Yeah, so for 8,000 people, got the brewery out here. All of this for 8,000 people. What do you think? Does this make any sense at all? Okay, let's have a look now. All these buildings we can click on. Old Perth Boys School. Got a bit there, but if I click, oh, hang on. Oh, sorry, it's these things. So I can click here and we'll get another view. There we go, look at that. So this is now 1925, so this is a bit later. And this is the Esplanade. So the bathhouse is gone. Look at that edge, how straight that is, man-made. Look at this. This has all been filled in now. Got a freeway going through there. But look at the build out. So this is, what was it, 25,000 people in 1901. So, you know, there's probably, even if it doubled, 50,000 people. And we've got this massive build out just everywhere. Now this is South Perth. Now there is, I can't see it there, there is a windmill that we've got. An old windmill sitting over here somewhere. Okay, so if we click on this, now it's 1868. Okay, so we're back earlier. So 1868, what's that? 39 years after they landed in a boat and there was nothing here. And look, what, it's not the best quality photo, but just look at the build out. There's our citadel from the Star Fort, and they knocked that over, of course. They called it the Pensioners Barracks, but look at this. In less than 40 years. And keeping in mind, before you build a building, you have to build, you know, an industry that builds bricks. You have to find the raw material of the clay, and then you have to make it into bricks, and you have to transport it. And you have to do the same with the cement, the mortar, the glass, the wood, the metal, everything, all the fittings, all the plaster. 40 years. Nice big building. So, yeah, the story with Perth, it kind of falls apart a bit. Now this is St. Mary's Cathedral. 1870, so again we're back, you know, population's probably 5,000 or 6,000. You can see all these trees have been newly planted, and it was literally, you know, like Perth City was, you can see all the roads, this has all been newly planted, so it was like it was just completely washed out and just a few buildings left. Oh, now look at this. So this is supposed to be Perth in 1892. Obviously this is a map that's been drawn, but 1892, so we're back around, you know, the 8,000 population or less, but look at the amount of buildings here. And we've got 1, 2, 3 jetties coming off. I mean, this doesn't even, it just looks so different to Perth. And it is Perth, Western Australia. It's not Perth. You know, I had to check that it wasn't Perth in Scotland, because it just doesn't look like Perth. This shoreline, like, you know, if you look at that compared to the other photos that we were looking at, that's probably not the best one. But if we get up here, see the shoreline, it's this sort of big curve, and it's not straight and it's not flattened out. This is the back of the barracks, by the way. Looks like they've already ripped some of it down. 1913. Let's go over here. Yeah, just see this. See how it's kind of curves in, curves out, and goes along. And it just looks completely different. there's the barracks again. All the soldiers. There you go, nice stuff. This bit here is still standing, this gateway, but the rest is all gone. This one. Okay, so look at this shoreline. Look how straight it is, how dead straight it is. Got a little cutaway here, but it just looks like a different city. And I'm sort of trying to work out where everything is. Now this is, okay, so this is South Perth. This is the Swan River. This goes up and turns into the Canning River. So this is, the bridge goes over here. This is Narrows Bridge there. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty much Perth shoreline here. This is sort of Applecross, I guess, which is another, yeah, suburb. So yeah, just look at the build out here. It's just, this map is ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. 1892. And up here we've got all these pictures, of course, of all the buildings. And look at them all. Like, none of these are small constructions. None of these are wooden huts. Because when you turn up, you know, to a new place and there's nothing there, one thing you pretty much have most of the time is trees and wood. And you would think it would make sense that you would start building out of wood, because it's there and you can just cut it down and mill it and turn it into buildings. Much easier to work with, much cheaper. You know, you need less industry than making bricks and cement and mortar. But no, they have to build out of bricks and cement, and you know, castles here. Just, yeah, bit of a silly story. Again, some old pictures. Got a ruin here. Now this is what, 1900. We've already got ruins. You know, something's been knocked over already. You know, and the colony is what, 60 years old. You know, and again, these nice big. Is that an archway? Is that a doorway? Look at that. So that looks like a house with a big, like, walkway through the middle of it. But all of these big, you know, all brick masonry, got their chimneys and everything, all very nice architecture, very well built. You know, got all these features, and we've got dirt roads here. You know, wouldn't you start with the roads before you started building these buildings? And look, this road just stops, and look, it just turns into bush. There's just trees now in the middle of the road. So you can see it looks like they've cleared this little bit, but they haven't quite got down here yet. But they've been building all these buildings. I mean, does that even make sense? 1913, so a little bit later. So this is, you know, like I said, probably 50,000 people, say. But you know, just old world buildings like we see everywhere, completely built out. You know, oversized fences and all these pillars. Of course, you know, advertising already. We've got a few people standing around. This looks like a cable roll for all these power lines, maybe. But just, yeah, look at that. The Federal Hotel. That one's still standing. I think it still has its belfry as well. I'll have to check on that. And of course here you've got a portal. You know, I mean, why? Why is there a portal there? Why would they do that? It's clearly been bricked in again. You know, so just all these little things everywhere that just don't make sense. Just don't make sense. And where's the industry? You can see a little bit out here. Got a smokestack. Of course, there's beer signs everywhere. Engineers, gas producers, oil engines, all this stuff. I don't know who Foy and Gibson were, but yeah, completely built out. Okay, so now we're back to the 1886 again. I think that's the same picture. Let's have a look from the Swan Brewery. Oh, no, that's right, we've got to click on 1887, the Swan Brewery. was built. What about this one? 1887 as well. Okay, so here we go. This is the Perth Esplanade, 1928. And of course we've got the docks here with all the boats. But of course back in the day people wore suits when they went boating, because why not? Bunker booth. So that is, yeah, that's the land, that's the Esplanade Park with the bunker booth just plopped in the middle. Rotunda, bandstand. Now this, I would say, is, or maybe up here is the remains of where the baths were, the Perth baths, but they're gone. Got all our boats going across the river, and we've got the Perth Zoo over there. So this is before the bridge was built. And look up here. So that is Government House, I'm pretty sure that is. There should be gardens out the front of it. So it's just, I mean, look at the build out. Look at this. You know, this is a, what, at the moment, you know, it's not even 100 years old. About 100 years old. And look at the build out. It's a silly story, really. It just doesn't make sense. And of course, yeah, so this is the old barracks here. And it's the same story, this big brick building, and then all they can really build is these wooden structures, you know, which is, like I said, they've got trees, so this is what they would build, these wooden shacks. Not this. But of course they could put the wooden, you know, veranda on the building, but they couldn't build the building. Wooden chimney, why not? They can build that. So this would have been, I would say, an original structure, but clearly lots of, you know, new wooden structures in there, and just higgledy-piggledy, you know, there's no, you know, style or sort of form to the way they're put out, but everything else is, you know, perfectly geometric. It's just weird. So there we go. It was just really, I wanted to show you these old pics of Perth, and you know, just how the story doesn't make much sense at all. Here are some taxis, and they're free. A Bowen's free taxi. There you go. This is 1928. And back to the panorama, 1885. Now this is a picture that's just a bit more modern. This is a colour one. This is 1967. And this is the Perth Cultural Centre. So just to show that this is, you know, the buildings that we were seeing in all those black and white photos, this is what they were. It's this kind of stuff that we see everywhere. And again, bricked up windows by the looks of it. You know, same architecture as we see everywhere. Windows going into the ground. You know, massive structures. And of course, I mean, you know, red brick as far as the eye can see. You know, look at this thing, steps going up, windows into the ground. See them? Right there. Of course, directly under these windows. So yeah, what do you think? Was Perth found or founded? Let me know in the comments. So there you go. Thanks for spending some time with me, guys. Bit more of a wander through Perth, Western Australia. And again, I sort of look at this, of course it's my hometown, but just the time frames, they're too close, they don't work. So yeah, let me know if you've got any more info that would be beneficial to this topic. And of course, leave me a like, a comment, please subscribe if you haven't already and you enjoy this content, and of course share it around so we can get this information out. Because of course we're in the Great Awakening, and this is the kind of information that will really help to wake people up and help them see through the illusion that has been plastered over our reality. And as always, a big thank you to everyone who supports this channel and my work in whichever way you can, and especially a big thank you to all my PayPal, Patreon supporters, and everyone who buys merch through the store, and also the affiliate links. There's also affiliate links below in the description, so you can go and check those out. There's some antivirus and a few other bits and pieces, some CBD products. So yeah, thank you for everyone who does support this channel. So thanks for spending some time with me, guys. Stay awesome, and I'll talk to you all on the next upload. Bye for now.